Okay, I would like to call the Hudson River Valley Greenway Communities Council to order, and I'm going to call on Dan to come up and give us some updates.
Thanks, Meg. Hi, I'm Dan Jeanson, Project Director at the Greenway. Just wanted to give a couple of quick updates about the Greenway Communities Program. And I'm going to go a little bit out of order. First off, I'm going to talk about postcards. This round we saw a lot of applications, and I think one of the successes was that we started sending postcards out again. It's a low-tech technology, but it's really effective. We've heard from municipal officials that the postcard was sitting on their desk and it made them think of us. I left a stack of these cards out in front. We encourage board members and public to take them out. It describes the council grants that are going to be open next Monday. And they're going to be due May 2nd. The council grants are open to municipalities only, but nonprofits and other groups can partner with a municipality if they want to apply for a wide range of projects. In updating the postcard mailing list is when I found out about the Village of South Nyack. The Village of South Nyack in Rockland County was dissolved in April 2022. It's now just a part of the town of Orangetown. Both communities were Greenway communities, and Orangetown still is. It's been a Greenway community since March 2001. It brings the total number of Greenway communities to 284 out of 324 eligible. And just a note, goal of the state is to promote efficiencies in local government, and we consider this an example of that. And the last thing I want to bring up is Ulster County. We've been having good discussions with the folks at, with Mary McNamara and Carol Beard on possible compact expansion into Ulster County, and we're hoping to open line of communications with the county, and we'll go from there. And that's all I have for that. Any questions? Great.
Okay, so we're now going to transfer back to Cody.
Hey everyone, Cody again. So we have been actively engaging with communities and sharing information about our grant programs and projects. And as you can see, as many as grants that we got this round, that it is working. Recently, we've exhibited at 2 conferences with our efforts focused on networking with communities specifically. From February 2nd to 4th, Dan and I exhibited at the New York State Conference of Mayors Winter Legislative Session in Colony in Albany County. That conference brings together mayors from cities and villages across the state for legislative updates, committee meetings, trainings, networking, and more. There were about 200 people in attendance, primarily chief elected officials, which gave us a great opportunity to speak with them and tell them about what we do. Coincidentally, even though it was in the upper Hudson Valley, we primarily spoke with Westchester County officials, so that I found that really interesting. Later in the month, from February 16th to 18th, Andy Kitzman and I attended the New York State Association of Towns annual conference in Manhattan that brings town supervisors and officials from across the state together for informal sessions, trainings, and more. This was a large conference with nearly 1,200 in attendance. We spoke from communities from every corner of the Hudson Valley and found this event to be very useful for our outreach initiatives. These 2 associations, NICOM, which is the New York State Conference of Mayors, and the New York Association of Towns, are the premier associations for community officials in New York State. And in the 7 years I've been working here at the Hudson River Valley Greenway, we've never attended either of these. So I think we're making strides with our outreach efforts, and we intend to attend more conferences like this to connect with communities across the valley in the future, and we're regularly looking for new opportunities. Thank you, and that's my update.
Okay, thank you. I really wanted to thank both Dan and Cody for this. I mean, these marketing outreach, which the whole staff and Andy have contributed to, has really made a difference in helping people realize what a resource the Greenway is, and I think it'll just go on to improve over the years. So now I want to transition on behalf of my co-chair Kevin to calling to order the Hudson River Valley Maurice D. Hinchy National Heritage Area. That meeting to order, and Andy is going to come up and talk about Heritage Development Grant Awards.
Thank you, Meg. So again, I get to come up here and take credit for Dan's work. So Dan, thank you for all of your work on these heritage grants. Again, there's a lot of back and forth with our partners. And we were able to award $29,940 in heritage development grants through our National Park Service appropriation money. So these are federally sourced grants through our National Park Service relationship. So Albany County Historical Association, is anybody here? Road to Revolution 1775 and beyond. This will be tours at Ten Brook Mansion, exhibits, and a museum partnership for $3,500. The Albany Institute of History and Art. The Hudson River Heritage, augmenting the Hudson River School landscape paintings from the Albany Institute exhibition, $7,500. The Albany Pine Bush Preserve Commission in Albany County. We've awarded, this is a research grant in exploring indigenous connections to the Albany Pine Bush Preserve for $1,440. In particular, this will be working with Native American communities to develop a body of research that will result in exhibits and materials moving forward. So congratulations to them on that. The Beatrix Farrand Garden Association in Dutchess County. Rhythm of Nature, African Drum and Garden Education for middle schoolers, $5,000. The Sing Sing Prison Museum in Westchester County.
Thank you. Please note I'll be abstaining.
Thank you, Bob. All right. The marketing, this will be a Sink or Sing, a walking tour about crime, punishment, labor, and Hudson River region, $5,000. And congratulations to the museum on its work in becoming a new cultural institution here in our region. And finally, the Thomas Cole National Historic House. I think somebody was here. Yep. Greene County Cole 200 anniversary at the Thomas Cole National Historic Site. Congratulations, $7,500. Would you like to say something?
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Grime, the Director of Advancement and External Affairs from the Thomas Cole National Historic Site. We have our new Executive Director, former Deputy Director Maura O'Shea on the Zoom, and we have our, who I think everyone knows, our Executive Director Emerita, Betsy Jacks, there as well. So we're so grateful for this funding, which is allowing us to make a big deal about a big anniversary this year. This summer marks the 200th anniversary of Thomas Cole's first trip up the Hudson River to Catskill. And on that trip, he really discovered his muse, the beautiful region known today as the Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area. And this place launched not only his career, but the formative art movement of the United States, the Hudson River School of American Landscape Painting. And he really, his paintings of this area became symbols of American beauty and informed this idea of this country, of America the Beautiful. And this funding is allowing us to hire a PR consultant to really get the word out, about a lot of programming we're doing in partnership with local makers, talks with Greene County historians, and also a new art trail site in partnership with the DEC at one of the locations Cole painted on that momentous trip up at North South Lake. So we are so grateful for this really impactful funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the Heritage Development grants. All right, Kevin? Sarah, second? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? It passes. Thank you. I just want to mention something that Andy and I did in early February. We went down to Washington, D.C. to attend the Alliance of National Heritage Areas, a one-day meeting there. And that's about, I think it's, Andy can correct me, about 62 national heritage areas around the country, I think in about 37 states. And it made me want to just travel everywhere because they're so interesting and very different from us, as though some are similar. They're really have a great variety of focus. And we also took that opportunity, as did the others, to basically meet with our congressional representatives and the offices of our two senators to make sure that everyone understood the value of the Greenway and to help build our relationship with them, because it's the Greenways and the national heritage areas in general have always had strong bipartisan support. So we did visit every congressional office. We had to miss one because of a sick staffer, but Andy was able to catch up with that person afterwards. And so it was really a rewarding experience because we really got very positive response and support, and some of our, particularly the newer congressional representatives are eager to support us with doing press conferences about any grants we might offer. And in return, we offered to send information to them about any grants that were made in their areas. So we came out of that optimistic that we hope we'll be able to continue to get support, and we'll certainly see that over time. But it was a rewarding experience. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that we were able to also meet with the New York State delegation from the governor's office, which has an office in Washington. We met with their two top officials. One of them had just started that week. She was a native of Hudson. She had never heard of the Greenway, so we have a little work to do that, but she was very she was very enthusiastic. And one thing they really appreciated, because we handed us out to everywhere we went, was this annual report. And this really, to have this beautifully presented report that's easy to see the breadth of our work, and I really want to commend Andy and the rest of the staff for getting this out this year. And I'll let Andy talk about more of that right now.
Thank you, Meg. Meg forgot to mention that we had to walk between all of those places, and it was cold, and the wind was blowing, and I just want to thank Meg. She came down for, it was 4 days for all of those meetings. It's a lot of work, a lot of energy, and thank you. So appreciate it. Before I talk about the annual report, I just wanted to mention one thing before I forget. On our council grants, Dan mentioned that they're going to be opening up on Monday. One of the things, these are grants that are for planning, and the governor has an initiative out right now to reopen closed beaches on the Hudson River. And that falls within the eligibility guidelines of our grants program. And so if you see our e-news, if you see some of our marketing for the upcoming grants program, we are just calling attention to the fact that reopening beaches on the Hudson River is an eligible activity. And we've already had some good interest in that. Our partners at Riverkeeper and others are very interested in sharing that news. So in the future, we'll be looking at ways where we can highlight those aspects to get people to think about the value of planning within their communities and how they can be creative about finding funding for their initiatives. So yes, annual report. Thank you, Meg. This was a great tool for us. We are going to be mailing this out. We didn't do a huge run. We did, I think, a run of 500 of these. Please take as many as you can today. If you're in the room here, we're not going to mail them to you. We can if you ask us to, but we're not going to. If you're on Zoom, et cetera, for all of our leadership representation, we'll mail out packages if you're not here today, so please do take them. These are great tools. Please share them far and wide, that they talk about the good work that we do. And as I mentioned before, one of my major goals for strategic planning is communications and outreach. And tools like these, tools like the postcard that Dan produced, we hope to continue to develop materials like this to reinforce our work and the value of our work. So, and thank you to staff for pulling numbers, for editing, et cetera. There's a lot of work that goes into these things. So thank you for your work, everybody. I mentioned, I believe, we did hire Wojcicki and Company as an accounting firm to help us with the transition from Scott Keller. Scott is continuing with us in a reduced capacity through July. He's got big shoes to fill. And so I did an RFP review. We hired Wojcicki through a competitive process. And a couple of changes that we've made. We have transitioned from our current Sage accounting portfolio to QuickBooks Online, which gives Greenway staff and the Wojcicki staff access to all of our accounting in appropriate ways. And we've also instituted Bill.com, which is an online bill tool. So thank you, Kevin, for your flexibility in adapting to that. It's been a lot of work, and again, I want to thank our staff, because changing platforms and changing accounting creates a lot of consternation, and it should. It's scary, and I thank you for your patience. It's been pretty smooth. We've had some hiccups, as you would expect, but you guys, I appreciate your support and not throwing me out the window, so thank you. Let's see, grant workshops. Dan, can I ask you, so Dan was able to go to a workshop that was put on by three of our partners and the Greenway. Preservation League of New York State really served as the lead, Greater Hudson Heritage Network, and then Dan, who was the third? Great. DIPSNY works, yep. We love acronyms. So Dan was able to go down there, present to about 40 participants, I believe, in person with those agencies. We co-presented all of our grants programs to a variety of eligible constituents. So Dan, thank you for arranging that, taking advantage of that and going down there. The GPI Clean Sweep, Cody mentioned GPI earlier, the engineering firm for the Albany Hudson Electric Trail and the Empire State Trail work that has been done in the past. Their company has adopted the Albany Hudson Electric Trail for the last 5 years for an annual clean sweep in celebration of Earth Day. So that'll be coming up. Greenway staff will be participating, and we just thank GPI, which is a large company, for getting their staff out on the trail and helping to clean it up, make it ready for use this coming year. And then finally, Greater Hudson Heritage, the network workshops were held again this past year. They held 4 workshops. These workshops were for, I have to look at my notes here, I'm sorry. These were focused on providing training and resources for collections located in historic house museums, art museums, and other collections. And in this particular case, they were looking at working with reducing detrimental agents of deterioration in artworks. So I think if you remember, if you saw my presentation in the original, in the October board meeting, I showed a picture of a conservator working on a painting. That was the workshop. Very cool stuff, very needed within the arts community. So we thank them for those workshops. They will be hosting them again this coming year, and we look forward to working with them. So I believe that is the extent of my report. Thank you.
Okay, any other old business from anyone? How about new business? Would anyone else like to comment on anything? I bet I can get a motion to adjourn. Who would like to make that motion? Bob, okay. Second? All right, Angela. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks to all. Enjoy the view.